The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here talking with flooring professionals from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Martin Brookes. Martin owns and operates Heritage Marble and Tile, as well as being the current president of the National Tile Contractors Association. After growing up in the UK and doing an apprenticeship for masonry, Martin moved to the US. He started in the commercial world doing large box stores and was quickly running the projects. After realizing the time frames were not his style, he went out on his own in California. When he ran into a problem on a project, he was pointed in the direction of the NTCA to get the help he needed. A relationship was born at that time and has continued since. Listen in to learn what the NTCA has to offer you as a trade organization. I guarantee you it's more than just a few $100s in vouchers. Martin Brookes, are you on the line?
I'm on the line, Kyle.
Awesome. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Oh, well, this is a pleasure. So you are the current president of the NTCA.
As of January 1st this year, yep.
Okay.
2021.
All right. So incoming president. You see all the time guys and gals balk at participating in industry groups, and I don't need it. What are they going to do for me? It's not worth my money. There's no value in it, right? And so I'm making my rounds. I'm interviewing the different industry organizations because to me, I see value in it. I get that there's more going on than just an exchange of money for some representation, an exchange of money for some vouchers. There's definitely deeper things going on, but let's hear who you are and what you do, why you do it, how you got involved into where you're at, and then we can move into dissecting, really why guys and gals need to be more involved in the industry, but specifically with the NTCA.
All right, Kyle. So I started in 1978, left all boys grammar school in England, managed to get an apprenticeship, went to college. Back then it was a more formal apprenticeship program. I did a year full time at college and then 3 years day release after that, 1 day a week from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. Got a City and Guilds, which is an institute based in London for masonry. Then I was also an indentured apprentice, so I was stuck with the company who paid for my education for another year after that. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I had my options. I ended up leaving, went to work for a building company in England. Within a few months, I ended up being foreman. I was only like 21 then. Ended up having guys twice my age working under me, which is I always feel a problem. There's these guys who've been in the building trades for years and years, not being able to climb up the ladder. Here's a newbie coming fresh out of college and gets a job overseeing them and giving them orders.
Yeah.
It worked out pretty well. I'm always very respectful of people who work under me. I understand, how it works. Then I moved on to a different company. Stayed there until I moved to the United States in 1993. Came over here without a job, started looking through the papers, found a job for a masonry company building big box stores. The first one was I think it was a Walmart down in Mountain View in California. It was hard work. I couldn't believe how hard these guys work. I'd not been used to working in the heat that these guys worked
Yeah.
in. Very hard. I've started tying rebar, was my first job. Within 6 months, I ended up being superintendent and running that company. Built a few of those.
That you just keep moving up the ladder real quick. I don't know how you do it.
I'm a quick learner, so and it's like people saw that. I mean, I was in all the crew members, I was the only white guy. All the crews were Hispanic, hardworking guys. Just work really, really hard, working 10 hours, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
To meet these deadlines, which were unrealistic. And I got burnt out on it because we'd put a Walmart up in 12 weeks. The next one would be 11 weeks. And they tried to condense the schedule.
Oh, my goodness.
And it just became so unrealistic. It's like, okay. Went to work union, both as a mason and a tile installer, because I could do both. In England, I'd done both. So I found it very easy. I feel like the wet trades are you can move sideways either way, because if you have the skills of the sand and cement, then you're able to move either way. In England, we'd go inside and do tile during the winter months. And I did a lot of floating, we call it rendering back in the UK. So I was very familiar with floating, knew how to float. And so that was pretty easy transition. Worked union for a short while, went over to Hawaii, worked at a Sheraton in Maui, did the remodel on there, got burnt out with the fast track union pace, decided to come back to California and then set up my own business.
Okay.
Did that in 96, 97, worked by myself with a helper, and then morphed into having employees and where I am today. It's been a great ride, let me tell you. I'm still as passionate today as when I first started. I currently sit as I'll be president in 2021 for NTCA. I was Tile Person of the Year this year, 2020. I sit on the NCA 108 committee and Standards and Methods and the technical committee for NTCA. And NTCA has been a really good avenue. I joined just over 15 years ago. I was coming up against some challenges, didn't know where to look for valid information. Met somebody who said, maybe you need to give these guys a call, called them up. We had a good conversation, decided to join, and have never looked back. And my take on that is, if you're in a profession, any profession, you need to be part of an association that can feed you valid information, that gives you a good insight into the industry, whether you're a small company or a large company. And rather than just like looking online at stuff that may be or may not be correct, I can tell you a trade association is going to give you good, valid information. And we at NTCA are very into training and education. That's really our forte. That's what we do well. And I've had all my guys, anytime a regional training comes through or a workshop, we attend. It's the best value out there. It costs a day off work, but I can tell you the amount of information that they take in on that day off work saves me money in the long run.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to make the mistakes that most people make, because now they have the hands-on and the book smart to be able to do a task that others may just start scratching their head and just wing it, and may end up in a failure. They may get lucky, it may not, but we've already been through the training. We already know how to do the task. And that's the real value of a trade association. Even during COVID, the information that was given by NTCA to help companies out there navigate through different legislations and laws, state by state, was invaluable. And talking to other companies out there and just sharing information is invaluable. You're not going to get that on a social media platform or searching it yourself. I mean, how many hours are you going to spend trying to search out this information when it's readily available through a trade association?
Well, correct. And you have professionals to look over that information and give correct information. You have the money to hire a lawyer to get you accurate information, whereas all the time in the online groups, right? It even comes down to, hey, should I be an LLC or an S corp or a sole proprietor? Why are you asking a tile guy how you should structure your company? That is a question for your accountant or your tax lawyer. There are people that are qualified to do this. I don't go ask the bricklayer how to invest in gold. Go ask the gold investor how to invest in gold, and that's taken straight out of a book that's super old. What is it? The Richest Man in Babylon, right? Like you're not going to ask the bricklayer how to invest in something other than bricks. That's what he knows. So why are, man,
everyone's risk is different. Assets, it's more complicated than just asking the question, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you need to seek out advice to protect yourself. Unfortunately, I see a lot of guys out there who are doing really well, and they're starting to, get assets and build the portfolio, and they don't understand the risk that they're not protecting themselves from by not being maybe an S or a C corp or an LLC.
Yep.
And so they're still out there as a sole prop, and they're leaving themselves out in the middle of the freeway with a pants stand, just for somebody to come along, whether at fault or not, but to try to take some of that net worth that they've worked hard for away from them. And so it's really important to understand your risk. Like I say, everyone's circumstances are different. And you may just be building your portfolio. You may not have a lot, so being an S Corp or C Corp or LLC may not make sense.
Yep.
But at some point, you've got to have that conversation. You can't go through growing your business without looking at other factors too. I didn't go to business school. I've learned the hard way. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And by talking to people about what I need to do to protect myself and how I need to conduct myself in the business world. And, that it's like I felt like had I probably gone to business school, it would have helped me catch up a lot quicker. It took me a long time to get there, but I eventually got there in the end.
Yeah.
And, and I was fortunate where I was able to hold on to the hard work and everything I'd done. Some people are not as fortunate, and it can hurt them. It can cripple them. It can take everything that they've worked for away that easy at the snap of your fingers. It's gone.
Yeah.
And it's not a good position to be in.
No, I mean,
I've been sued twice. Right.
Oh, man.
I have this conversation too. It's like, most guys don't want to admit they're being sued. I don't mind admitting I've been sued. It was a lesson for me. Mm-hmm. One I offered to fix, but the general contractor thought it was not his fault and kind of blamed the homeowner. I got dragged into it, which is as subcontractors you typically do. You get named as DOE 1 through 10, and you have no choice but to be dragged into it. I wanted to settle, didn't get that opportunity. It cost me $32,000, and that hurt. And the second one was not at fault, which was a deck we did. We finished the deck, and the handrail guy came after and drilled through the tile and the waterproof assembly, and for 10 years it was leaking. We have a 10-year latent defect law in California. Mm-hmm. Attorney jumped on it, took it to court. My insurance company at that time paid out of convenience, not at fault, but out of convenience, $60,000. I mean, it didn't cost me anything apart from when I went to try to renew my insurance, and now I have a claim against me, and now I have to go out of state to a non-admitted insurance company because nobody wants to touch me in California.
Yeah.
And that lasted 5 years before I could have that taken away. So there's all these things that you have to look at and, make sure that you're covered, that your business is well protected and secure, and that you're not putting yourself in harm's way. And I think that's where the benefits of a trade association come in, because we offer a lot more than just the vouchers. We've got insurance programs, workers' comp programs, health programs, retirement programs. there's buying programs, shipping, etc. There's a lot of benefits, but you've got to dig deep into it. You can't just you've got to play in the game. You can't expect somebody to come knocking on your door and explain it to you. You've got to research it and just find out what those true benefits are.
Okay. Well, let's start trying to work our way through a little of them, but let's start kind of at the beginning. So the NTCA wasn't always the NTCA, and it's been around for a long time. So
1947, yeah.
Geez. So let's see, 47, 53, 73 years?
Yeah. Started off as the Southern Tile Contractors Association in Alabama.
Okay. And is it still based in Alabama, or has it moved? Like, where's the headquarters now, or where's home base?
It's in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, so not far.
Well, not only that, it wasn't only STCA. It morphed into ATTMCA, which is in '85, which was the Association of Tile, Terrazzo, Marble Contractors and Affiliates, and then it became NTCA in I think in the 1980s.
Okay.
Around 1988, I think it became NTCA, which is a better acronym to associate itself with than the ATTMCA, which is a bit of a tongue twister.
A little bit. I think you summed it up a little bit.
I mean, Joe Tarver was the driving force. I mean, Joe Tarver was a visionary. He saw this need, for trade association. Mm-hmm. And not only a trade association, but a show to have everyone come and show their wares. And Joe was definitely a visionary in the tile world and such an amazing guy that helped put this together. And then, he was the one who hired Bart. And then, Bart brought Jim on board, which is the gold standard of any trade association. I mean, we're just fortunate to have those two people at the head who were able to make this work and, be a fantastic trade association.
Well, and there's so much offered now, right? Like, it's had time to evolve and grow and change and mature. And so I'm sure at the beginning, right? Like, if you went back 73 years, it was a group of guys that were passionate about what they were doing, and they wanted to be able to set some standards and say, look, we have to live up to this at a bare minimum. And now you're saying that there's, insurance things and, right. Workers' comp. Like, there's multiple things that you can learn about and programs you can get through you because you've been able to build relationships and mature and grow. So,
and hire key personnel who are able to evolve that too. Mm-hmm. I mean, Joe Tarver used to travel around the country in an RV doing trainings. Going to do his whole route around the country, stopping off at distributors doing trainings. That's how it started, living in an RV.
Man, that's
and now
dedication.
we have like 3-4 trainers out on the road, going to distributors. We cover all the United States, and 2020, obviously that's not happened. Mm-hmm. But having full-time trainers out there on the road, giving out information to members and non-members, and we hope that when non-members attend a workshop that they see the value and that they join. Mm-hmm.
And the workshops are free, are they not? Or there's a minimal cost? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the regional ones, I mean, they're typically, they have like the regional ones, which are for NTCA members only. But the workshops are all free, and it's a great place to gather. Guys come, they get fed, they do raffles, they give away saws and all sorts of stuff, and they get a taste of what NTCA is about, what we offer, training and education, apprenticeship programs. Mm-hmm. Everything that NTCA has to offer is described and at the workshops.
Well, and that's great. I mean, you're getting people together and you're getting the right information in their hands. Because honestly, you right. keep saying you need these trade associations, and if I'm having a problem with, if I need a surgery, I don't want to go to the doctor that hasn't taken any new classes in 20 years, right? Like if he knows what he learned 20 years ago, something's
Right.
probably
You're in
changed.
trouble.
There's probably a better way. So where better to stay up to date than the horse's mouth, right? You're connected with the industry bodies that are coming up with the standards. You have people on those boards, like you said yourself, you're on an ANSI committee. So why would you trust what some random contractor is saying, or even your best friend, if he, is a competitor in your market, versus straight from the horse's mouth?
It's just an opinion, right? You get 10 guys in a room. You ask them a question. Each one will have probably a different opinion on how it works. And it's the same thing as systems have become more available through manufacturers, and thin sets have got more complex. We've had to become more book smart. It's really important to understand how these systems work and how systems warranties work and how you get the most value by doing something with a single source manufacturer rather than mixing and matching and having no warranty or nothing at all. It's the single source system warranties really add value, and really for me, it's a sales pitch that I can use to my end user, telling them I can give them a 20-year warranty if they go with this, this, and this.
Well, it's all my argument is always, I'm going to follow the rules because my bank account doesn't want to back that install.
Right.
So if I can do it by the book, and Schluter, Ardex, Mapei, whoever it's going to be, right? TAC, I don't care who, is going to put 20 years on it. Let them put 20 years on it. That's their scientists that say it's going to work, and I'm going to trust them because they got scientists on it. I'm not a scientist.
And they know, the guys who are being trained and do it correctly, the warranty is just a sales pitch. You're not going to need the warranty.
Probably not these days. People move within like 5 years, so you're fine usually. But
what I'm saying is that you are so familiar with the system, and you know how it works. You're going to put it together exactly how it should, and you're not going to get the call, or they're not going to get the call about a warranty claim.
Correct.
So there's very little risk in having a guy who knows how to do it. In offering, I mean, I have this conversation with a lot of guys. It's like, well, the warranty is worthless. It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. And I think to the customer, to the end user, it means a lot. For them, it's peace of mind, right? So don't look at it from your perspective. Look at it from who you're selling it to, and look at the value that you're offering them for free, because you know what you're doing, and the manufacturer has a lot of trust in you, and is giving you a 20-year warranty on the product that you're installing. But don't go ahead and use X, Y, and Z different manufacturers and then expect a warranty, because you're not going to get a warranty. And there's nothing worse than going to a job site inspection and seeing how many different materials they've used and how they've mixed them up. And, I've had guys tell me, well, I mix a bit of this thin set with this manufacturer's thin set because I believe it gives me a better bond. Oh. And it's like, you're a job site chemist. Who told you it gave you how do you determine it gave you a better bond? Well, it feels creamier, or it feels grittier. It feels more sticky. Yeah. It's like, stop, please.
Yeah. When did you get in the lab?
These guys spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on resources and R&D for somebody to come out in the field and be a job site chemist and mess all the chemistry up. Stop it.
Yeah.
What you think is not actual.
And
if you don't like the material, then move on and buy a different manufacturer's material. But please don't mix it up on the job site.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right. Like, you're not out there with the proper tools to test this stuff out. You're not in a controlled lab. You're not measuring it out probably with to the specific ounce of water and ounces of product. Just you're not. If you're the scientist and you have the lab at home and you're doing it that way, fine, go ahead and do it. But you're probably not. So stop.
Stop it.
Yeah. So you brought up a good point, right? Like the piece of paper, the guarantee from the manufacturer gives people peace of mind. But I also think, if you take that NTCA logo and you stamp that on your business card, and you can go in and you can say, hey, look, I'm part of this group. I'm maybe you participate in a committee, or maybe you can show that, you train all your guys through the apprenticeship program you offer. I think that's going to give people peace of mind. It definitely sets you apart in your market, because there's not a lot of people that are going to take the time to explain, hey, look, this is what I'm doing to offer you the best end result, and I can guarantee I'm going to get you there because I'm involved, I participate, I stay up to date. This isn't, a lot of guys come in, I got 20 years experience. Okay, well, did you get 1 year of experience and repeat it 20 years? Or have you gained an actual 20 years of experience? And I think if you're participating in the NTCA on the level you're talking about, you're going to get 20 years of actual experience.
20 years of actual training.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than 20 years of doing it wrong, right? You don't know whether the guy who taught him did it right or did it wrong. And so he could have been doing it wrong for 20 years, not known. And so, and I think because information is so readily available on the internet, it's easy for somebody who's savvy to just search you out to see if you're the right person for the job, if they want to hire you. And I do believe that, it's a good selling tool, that if you can prove to the person who's wanting to hire you that you're capable and you're competent, that you're going to get the job, and then price doesn't become a consideration anymore.
Yeah.
Because you've already qualified yourself based on your experience and your participation.
I agree. What is there? I think there's you partnered up with Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. So
yes,
there are 4 or 5 CTIs in Phoenix. One of them is the Mapei rep, so he's not doing any installs. And then I think 1 or 2 of the other ones only do commercial work. It's like a no-brainer to me to find this test, take it, and do it. Now, granted, I don't do tile, but I may just have to learn enough to go and get a certification so that I can at least say, I know what I'm talking about, and I can guide you in the right direction to hire a tile installer. Well,
not only that, Kyle, the CTI stays with the installer. It's not with the company.
Correct.
And so if somebody was coming to me looking for a job, and say they were moving from Phoenix and they were coming to Northern California,
mm-hmm.
and they solicited me, called me up, say, hey, and they were a CTI, they'd get the job over any other person that didn't have. And the other guys may be just as good as,
mm-hmm.
but because they took time out and they did it, and they got the number and they got the certification, they're going to be higher on my list than the other guys who have not, because they've already proved a certain level of competence. And that test is difficult. I know it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
But even taking time out to do it, to be able to prove to me as an employer, and they want to come and work for me, says something. That speaks volume right there, that they've taken time out to do it, that they actually care about the trade that they work in.
Yeah, I mean, even if the other employer paid for them to go and do it, I don't really care, right? Because they, like you said, they've taken the time to do something, they've passed it. Whether or not they're still operating to those standards, I can't guarantee you that, but I am with you in that most likely they would be. It would be easy to say, look, I'm putting you ahead of everybody else because of this qualification, but I need you to live up to this qualification and we can pay you accordingly. But you're going to know real quick if they're not. But I think anybody that takes that test is most likely correct. I think they're going to do it because it takes a different mindset to even get involved in the trade organizations and then to go and get the certifications. I don't care if it's from the National Wood Flooring Association, CTEF, Certified Flooring Installers, Natural Fiber Installer Certification, NFIC, whoever, even with NAFCT starting up with Sonny and Paul. There's tons of options out there, right? And so, but it takes a certain mindset to wrap your head around this and want to get involved and be a business owner and a competent installer. And so I think anybody that does it is already setting themselves apart, and they're probably not going to revert back to hack installer that they may have started out as, right? I think we all start out as babies, and you have to mature and grow.
I think the good thing about the CTI is that it introduces them to the TCNA handbook and ANSI, which most installers, believe it or not, they don't even know that it exists. And so it's an introduction for them. They will get the information to take the written tests. And so now they're fully aware of what's out there, that there is actually a standard, and there are, like detailed drawings of how to do a task. And that if you go to A108 and you can see exactly what the parameters are to do that task. And so I think that just doing the CTI alone opens them up to seeing information that they necessarily wouldn't think or don't know that's out there. And now they have access to it. So if they do get in trouble further down the road, they know where to look. Now they've got a resource to look into and find out where that information is. And so, it's like anything that advances the craftsperson forward is a good thing. It's a good thing for the industry.
Yes.
It makes us all better.
Okay. So, anyone can get involved with the NTCA. There's no qualifications.
Yes. You've got to be licensed. If it's a licensed state, you've got to be licensed.
Got it.
And you've got to be a business. We're a National Tile Contractors Association, not a National Tile Installers Association.
Okay.
So, we're contractor based. We're not an installer. But if you're looking to join as an installer and you want to be a business, it's a good opportunity to start talking to us so that you can become a business and you can be a contractor.
Okay. So you've got to have like your LLC formed or whatever you have to be an established business
you've got
in
to
your
be
area.
You've got to be a business, right?
Okay.
Right.
And then if you need licensing in your state, so California, Arizona, Nevada.
Yes. You would have to be a licensed contractor.
You got to be a licensed contractor. Okay. I'm not even worried about the cost. The cost is offset by the vouchers. The vouchers are not what this is about. If you want to use the vouchers, you get a bunch of vouchers from different manufacturers. You'll get a couple $100 in thin set, or I don't know if any of the clip manufacturers are involved now, but essentially you get a bunch of coupons. You go to your distributor, you turn in the coupons, you get some product, you get to test stuff out, and your membership is paid for. Besides that,
well, Jim Olson did a great job with this program. It's called Partnering for Success.
Okay,
and the program's grown over time. And Jim goes to manufacturers and he asks them if they would like to, give product. And it's a great way for manufacturers too to give prospective clients or customers a product that they probably wouldn't normally use, and they get a chance to try it. And so they may be able to win them over. They may get, like 10 bags of thin set from a manufacturer that they'd not tried before. Mm-hmm. They get those 10 bags and they love it. And then they switch over from what they were using to now this new thin set. And it's the same with the clip manufacturers or any other product out there. It's a chance to use it. And the manufacturers, give us that opportunity through the Partnering for Success program to have our members try those products and probably try to win them over. Okay. So it's a win-win. Everyone wins, and we thank the manufacturers out there for participating in this program because it has been a success.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, okay, so at the bare minimum, you pay the NTCA their fee. It's a business write-off because you're joining a trade organization. So now you're not paying taxes on that little bit of money. You're going to recoup that money in vouchers towards products you're going to use anyways.
Yeah.
But now we get all the other stuff. So that's what I really want to dig into is all the other stuff we get. So number one, you have an apprenticeship program. What is it? Yes. How does it work? How do I use it?
Well, you've got to run it yourself. It is DOL approved, but you are the administrator of the apprenticeship program. We brought Becky Serban on a few years ago. She worked closely with Dan Welsh. Dan was really into an apprenticeship program, worked really hard, put together instructional videos and a curriculum, and it's a fully, it's a full apprenticeship program that you can follow through the NTCA Apprenticeship Program.
Okay, so I get a new guy, and he's watching videos, he's taking little tests, he's learning everything from step one to I can put him
Prep,
out on his
grab,
own at
everything.
the end. Yeah.
So A to Z.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so now I have a training program built in. I don't have to design my own training program. And as a business owner now that doesn't do tile, I am, I'm writing how I go through my processes of how I'm going to install a vinyl plank or laminate floor, how I'm going to install an engineered wood floor. That takes me time, effort. I've got to make sure I don't forget steps. I've got to make sure I go over it with anybody I'm hiring, and that
Right.
now that I've written it, right, I got to live up to it. I got to do it that same way.
Right.
So I think
Right.
not only as it saves you the time from having to develop it, but it's going to give you like, hey, look, maybe I'm skipping a step and I need to make sure I incorporate
Right.
this in. It gives you a thing to double check off of. So there's value
Right.
in that right there. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
I know listening to Tile Money, there was a big push. You guys started doing like a 401k or an IRA program or something like that recently, right?
Yep. There's a 401k, and it's a group participation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the administration costs are much lower on that because it's a group. So I think the administration costs are for the group rather than as an individual.
Yeah. And I had a financial advisor on one of the episodes at one point, and we were talking about, as a company my size right now, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, like the expense to operate a 401k program, right. it would
make it
kill
worthwhile.
me. Yeah,
right.
Correct. But I can offer a simple IRA and still kind of have that. I could match 3%, put it in there. There's still opportunities. But if you can get into a bigger fund with people, and now you have everybody that's a NTCA member joining into one fund, you get a little bit better options. You probably can work with some better entities on getting the education to the clients on, where they're investing, how they're investing, things like that. So I think that's a really great benefit. It puts you into being able to operate like a much larger company than where you may actually be if you only have a couple of employees.
Yeah. Strength in numbers. It typically always works, right? Buying groups, anything out there is like if you're a larger group of people, you're going to get more value.
Yeah. Well,
and expenses should be less.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you mentioned buying groups. I don't know why, like, especially tile setters, right? Like if you can find somebody else that really likes the product that you use, man, you should be finding another guy or two. Go either put it in your garage or go rent a warehouse, like a storage space somewhere. Buy pallets together.
Right.
Save 5% a bag. And man, you're going to be able to put that further in your company. But that's, I don't know. I think outside the box, I want to squeeze a penny and get two. I'm that guy. So if I was doing something like that, I would be finding a way to buy pallets, especially.
Right.
What are the chances that you're going out of business tomorrow? Probably not good. The economy's doing all right. We're all pretty busy. You can probably afford to buy a half a pallet of thin set, and the other guy buys the other half, and you store it somewhere, and you're going to use it over the next year. Like,
yep.
I got a feeling it'll work out.
Yep.
So what else do we have? You mentioned before, like some workman comp stuff. So is it another like buying group package thing to get workman's comp insurance for your company?
We work with a insurance company that offers packages for workers' comp, liability, etc.
Okay.
So that it's a resource that we have. It's not through it's through NTCA, but it's someone, it's a vendor through NTCA.
Okay, so it's more like you've vetted the vendor and they're pretty good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it. But it's at least, now I have a reliable source to call instead of me calling 5, 6, 7 different companies when I start out, or even every year. Once again, like this is one of those things like, man, just because you shopped it once when you started, if it's been a couple years, I know it's a pain. I know it is.
Right.
But shop your stuff again. I got dropped I had to file 2 claims on a inland marine policy last year for some stolen tools, and then an accident that happened and the tools got damaged in that. And so the company I was with dropped me. I actually got more coverage through a new guy and pay less for it. So win-win.
Yep. Can't beat that, right?
No, not at all. So go shop your stuff, and that's like not even part of this episode. But there you go. And if you don't know what an inland marine policy is, you can buy a policy just to protect your tools. You don't have to use your homeowner's policy. Like, go talk to your agent about getting an inland marine policy on your tools. They're super cheap. My $5,000 in coverage was like 150. I believe I have like 7,500 now for the $150, and the deductible's like $100. So it's a no-brainer.
Chestnut Lyson is actually the company that we use.
Okay.
As an affiliate through NTCA.
Okay.
They've been a partner for many years.
Okay. And I kind of, it broke up a little bit when you said the name. So what is it again?
Chestnut Lyson.
Okay. Got it. And I'm sure that you can find
Mark Rosenkratz. I actually played golf with him at some of the I think Total Solutions one year. Mark's a cool guy. Mark Rosenkratz, and he's the liaison for NTCA members through Chestnut Lyson.
Got it. And I'm sure that's located somewhere on the NTCA website. You can find something to get over to that. Okay. What other benefits do we have? I mean, you guys got to have like a just kit and caboodle of them by this time, I'm sure.
Let me go through a few. I think one of the great ones is the monthly tile letter.
Okay.
Leslie Godden, who's the editor-in-chief, does a great job. I think it's just a great magazine. But this year we're going into we're changing gears a little bit, going more into a user-friendly digital platform, so it's more easily accessible on a cell phone or a tablet or your computer.
Okay.
I still like the magazine. I like to flick through the pages, but that it's a long-running magazine, and it's a great resource too. Lots of good stories, articles, and some advertising in there. So that's great. We have the Health, Life, and Dental sponsored program. We have Busy, which is a mobile time tracking system. I actually went on the seminar, and I was using T-sheets, paying like $600-700 a year. After the seminar, I actually dropped my T-sheets and took Busy's free app, and now use that for my guys. And the free app is actually offers more than the T-sheets. I found I use QuickBooks, so the T-sheets work good with my QuickBooks. However, it wasn't very intuitive. I thought it was very clunky.
Okay.
My guys would get locked out. It was difficult to log them back in. Just the whole format was bad. Busy, I found easy. If my guys lock out, I can log them in. And it's just a really mobile, easy app, very intuitive to use. So I just saved $600 a year and moved to Busy. We have the Apprenticeship Program, the Partner in Success, the live technical advice. Rob and Mark are always available to give advice to members.
Okay.
We have the 401k. We have the NTCA University, too, which gives the members a discount on using that. The regional programs, which I participate in, which give NTCA members only a chance to go in a small classroom format and learn from one of the trainers what that topic will be. We have a 20% off Keen utility work boot discounts. We also partners with NetChecks and Field Pulse. And so we have a lot to offer that if you just dig into it and you uncover it, you'll be quite surprised at what we do have to offer rather than just the vouchers.
Well, there's so much there already, Yeah. And so we never actually discussed
for nothing. Actually, we're paying you. At the end of the day, we're paying you to be members, right? So we take your money up front to be a member, but then we give you $2,000 back in vouchers, and we offer all this other stuff too. It's like, people say, "What's the catch?" It's like there's no catch. This is not a bait and switch thing. This is like for real. It actually is kind of too good to be true. But it's going to help you in your business. It's really going to help you in your business.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So we never actually mentioned the cost to become a member. So what is the nominal fee to join NTCA?
It's $600 a year. And then the vouchers is $2,000, right?
It's nothing. That is, you're going to spend $600 on tools. Come on.
Well, and that's a write-off anyway.
Exactly.
So you just write it off, right? Oh. And then we're going to give you $2,000 in vouchers to use on top of that. And then you're going to get, not only that, you're going to get a free NTCA reference manual. You're going to get a free TCNA handbook every time it renews. So you're going to be up to date with all the valid information that you need to run your business. You're not going to have to call in to get that book. It's going to be sent out to you as a paid member. You're going to get that every time it renews.
Well, and like you said, you also have 2 guys on staff ready to take phone calls at any time to get technical advice. So if you're calling the, whatever manufacturer you're using out there, and they need to transfer you to somebody and you get a voicemail, you've got another option and somebody who's probably going to be able to direct you in the right direction because they've either dealt with these manufacturers as they're traveling around doing all their trainings, or they've been doing it. I know the guys that are trainers they were installers. That's what they did. So they've been there, they've done that probably.
Well, no disrespect to the manufacturers, but it's going to be a biased opinion from a manufacturer.
Yes.
Whereas if you're getting it from an installer who's been out there on his knees, he's going to give you an unbiased opinion of what he thinks is happening. And you know what? If he doesn't know, he's going to send it to a number of trusted NTCA members, and he's going to send that email out asking what their opinion is. And so not only are you're not just dealing with the 2 trainer with Mark or Rob, it's also going to go to a wider audience to try to get to the bottom of what's really happening, to give you an answer, to give you a valid answer of how you can either fix it or how you can deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's invaluable right there, right? When you can
look,
you can
save your business right there.
Correct. I mean, you can go online. I will never knock the online forums because that's how I've been able to develop as a business so quickly. That's how I was able to even know that I should start this podcast. I knew there was an audience for it. But you can get led astray really quickly because you're going to get hundreds of opinions instead of, if you've been on them for a while, you're going to know who to trust and who not to trust. I get it, but you can get led astray very easily. And
are you trying to get to the truth, or are you trying to find something that fits your belief system?
Yes.
So, a lot of times people will keep searching and searching and searching until they find something or someone that fits their belief system to try to get them a get out of jail card, right? Yeah. So, it's like sometimes you might not hear what I have to say, but at least it's the truth and it's going to help you try to resolve an issue rather than finding somebody who plays into the belief system and tries to take you down that dark path that's not going to help you, and it's going to dig you a hole that you can never get out of.
Yes. And that's what you don't want to see, right? Like you have this set up because you don't want people to get the lawsuits. Like you said, you've been through it. And I'm sure it was an absolutely miserable experience. Your insurance cost you more.
Awful.
I'm sure having to go to court and deal with any of those proceedings was a waste of your time and screwed up your schedule. Like
the $5,000 it would have taken to fix it, because not only the $36,000 that had to be paid out, it's my time, right? My effort, the worry, the stress. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. And so it didn't only cost me $36,000; it cost me way more of my time, my stress. Probably at some level part of my reputation too.
Yeah.
Whereas had we just fixed it, my reputation would have stayed intact. The stress would have been less. The $5,000 would have been a loss, but you know what? It's not that big of a loss. It's a lot less than $36,000 plus the stress, my time, and my reputation. But I had a general contractor who was steering the ship in the wrong direction and couldn't convince him any other direction, because he got it in his head he was going to win this thing. And that's where there's a fine balance between common sense and, being headstrong. And if you're not listening to common sense, you need to listen to someone outside the bubble so they can tell it. And that's why I'm going down this path right now, because I believe at NTCA that's what we can do. It may not be what you want to hear, but at least it's giving you the correct information based on probably somebody else's experience and what happened. So we know what's going to happen because you've told us your story, and now we're going to tell you how to fix it or what to do or what the best direction or plan of action is to take. And it's, if you listen to it, you will be probably okay. But if you go down that dark path where somebody's buying into your belief system, that's going to get you in a whole bunch of hurt.
Yeah, it's you can trying to find a like-minded individual that you agree with, right? Like that's just gonna, like you said, it's gonna go down that road. But even like you said, it's sometimes losing a little bit of money ends up making you way more profitable. How much, like you said, you may have lost reputation, and so how many people has that former client badmouthed you to, saying this tile contractor screwed this project up and he's horrible, don't use him, whereas it was technically the GC's fault. You were willing to fix it and you couldn't get around him to make that happen.
So my $36,000 loss, Kyle, started off with a call to my insurance broker who gave me bad advice and told me, tell them you're going to file bankruptcy. They'll go away. They'll just go away. And it's like, really? It's like, why would I tell them that? I'm not going to file bankruptcy. I'm ethical, and it's like, and I ended up leaving that insurance company based on his bad information, but I couldn't believe how negligent his information back to me was as an insurance broker. His answer was, tell him you're filing bankruptcy. That's horrible. And it's like, how negligent is that?
Yeah.
So, I'm fortunate enough to surround myself with people who I could have taken that advice, right? I could have taken that advice, but it would not have helped me. It would have been bad advice. Well, and so that's why it's really important to rub shoulders with like-minded people who can help you in your business and give you the right way rather than the wrong way.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, is that the people you're going to meet by going to NTCA events and giving them a call and participating more with other members, I've found that anybody that's willing to participate in a trade organization, anyone that's willing to quote unquote lose money to go to a certification or training class, right? Like if you're going to go and do a Schluter or Tech or whatever class that they're like the workshops they offer, and you're not working that day, you're technically losing money, but you're gaining knowledge to make you money in the future. Right. Those are the people I want to know. Those are people that are invested in this beyond it being a job, beyond it being able to pay a bill and working paycheck to paycheck. These are people that want to build businesses, that want to be profitable, that want to elevate the trade to being respected. Because in all honesty, I don't think anybody that's really doing tile and flooring at this point, whenever I see a list of trades listed and it's saying that, there's plumbers and welders and framers and carpenters and things like that, I don't ever see flooring and tile guys listed on it.
Right.
I don't think we get the respect that we want. And if we're not participating with people that are going to help us elevate what we're doing to get it there and become craftsmen again and craftswomen, right, you're wasting your time. So it's a no-brainer for me to go and want to interact with them. But I think that's where so much of the unseen value really lies. You offer so much stuff for $600, let alone, like we've said, you're going to get it back on the vouchers, but that's not the point. It's all the unseen things. That just makes it easy.
That's the whole point of NTCA. Otherwise, it would just fall apart, right? Without having a steward of the industry who steers it in the right direction, whether it be through standards, apprenticeship programs, elevating the tile contractor, whether they're a member or not. Don't forget, a lot of stuff we do, the non-member benefits from it indirectly, but they don't even understand how they benefited from it. And an example of that is like James Wolfel, very active on standards. Chris Walker, very active on ANSI, driving standards that help people who are not even aware that these guys are putting in volunteer hours into the day to make the industry better for everyone, not just for NTCA members. Well, so that's one of the other things too, is we all benefit from that because we elevate the industry. We elevate the trade to a higher platform to have it be more respected. So you can't just pull a guy off the street who was digging holes for a fence post yesterday and now he's putting a floor in your living room, and then you wonder why it all went bad. So we've got to differentiate ourselves from that we are a specific trade that's very artisan and requires a certain skill set to perform that trade and task to make it successful. Otherwise, you're going to be very unhappy. It's not going to work out so well.
That's the best mission possible, I think. That's what we all need to be doing, is we got to leave it better than we found it. I do know.
Well, I think that's. I think as a person, me myself, I'm always looking for growth, whether it be in my personal life, my business life. I'm always looking to enhance or better myself. I want my children to be better than myself. That's what I want as a human being. It's like pushing it forward, making it better for everyone. And I think that as tile installers, we should look upon that too. We want to make the industry better. We want to be able to make more money, but to make more money, we've got to prove we're better, and we've got to prove we can perform a task and it be successful and it not fall apart.
Yeah.
Because one bad job in a neighborhood, the word spreads pretty fast. It'll go around that neighborhood a couple of times before anybody even mentions the guy that did their beautiful, lovely marble master bathroom. Nobody ever talks about that. I'm yet as a consultant, I'm waiting for a call where somebody calls me in to hire me to write a report on how good their master bathroom looked. I mean, I get hundreds of calls on people who are distraught and so angry with the tile guy because he messed up so bad, and now their ceiling's coming down in the living room because he couldn't do a shower pan. I get lots of those, but nobody has yet to call me and say, can you write a report on how beautiful my master bathroom looks? Yeah. And it's really sad because we all get tainted with that. So the next guy they call up, they don't trust, because how can I trust the next guy when the last guy let me down so bad? And we've got to move away from that. And we've got to separate ourselves, just like electricians and plumbers, that we're not a handyman trade. We're very specialized, and the materials we use are very complex. The world has changed from mud beds and hot mop shower pans. Our world has become very complex and much more book smart and much more education oriented, that we need to participate to be able to perfect it. And if we don't, we'll probably end up, with a failure again, and then wonder why. And we all get a black eye.
Well,
it's not. It's just. I say to these people, why are you driving the cost down? Don't you want to earn more money for your family so you have a better life? Why are you driving it down? Separate yourself. Be good at what you do, and try to be even better the next day than you were the last day.
Yes.
So you can make more money and you can have a better life.
Well, and I don't, one of the biggest things that I see is that, right, like, okay, the technical aspects of the trade are what's always focused on. When you hire an apprentice to join your team, you bring them up to be able to do the job. Nobody's training them how to run the business.
Right.
Because, I don't want them to go and start and be a competitor in my market. If you're training them right, they're going to bring the bar up in your market and help you. So exactly. You got to teach them personal growth skills, the trade skills, and the business skills. And if you don't have the business skills, that's why this podcast exists. That's why the NTCA is there. That's why Tile Money is there, Floor Masters, whoever you want to go and follow. That's why there's tons of books and business podcasts. Go get yourself that education. I don't care if you take night classes at the community college, if you can fit that into running your business. But
I think
you're a business person
Luke
now.
Miller. Yeah, Luke Miller's done a great job of having guys actually understand the value, and he's able has been able to elevate. It's helped a lot of people along. I'm constantly reading and people like, oh, I put my prices up this, and I still got the calls, and I put my price up again, and I still got the calls. It's like, can you imagine how much you are undervaluing yourself?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, nobody's ever going to tell you you're charging too less. Let me give you more money. If you keep doing it for that cost, they're going to keep asking you to come back for that cost.
Yep.
Now, the only problem I would say is you have to be very careful if you want to keep your client base of moving your costs up, because you've got to have a reason. You've got to be able to justify why you're moving your costs up based on expenses and your burden. You can't just come out with this magic number and say, oh, I'm going to double my prices this month. Why? Now, all of a sudden, you got a GC who's saying, how come you doubled your prices this month?
Yep.
And if you can't justify why you doubled your prices, you're probably going to lose that GC. So I think it's really important that you do increase your prices every year to keep in line with inflation and costs, etc. But that you don't gouge either, because you don't want to be looked upon as the gouger.
Yes.
Because when the economy starts to slow down and retracts, then you're not going to get the calls. But if you're being consistent and you're being fair, you're still going to get those calls in a recession.
And you need to be able to justify your price. I think that's where a lot of people get confused. You are doing it's a craft, it's an art. And so you can charge more for it because not everybody can do it. Just because the materials are available in a box store and the box store runs a class on, a Saturday a month on how to do a backsplash, boy, you've invested more time and money and into anything learning how to do this the right way. So that has value.
Hey, I bought way back in the day, I bought a workshop manual for my car, and it told me piece by piece I had to take it apart. But you know what? I wasn't skilled to do that. Mm-hmm. So the book became useless.
Yes.
Because I couldn't take the car apart because I didn't have the skill set to put it back together. And so it's the same thing with TCNA. You need the skill set. It's going to tell you how to do it, but you need the skill set to be able to do it, to perfect it. It's the same with manufacturers' books out there. They can give you all the information they want, but unless you have the skill set to do it, it's like, that's why it's pointless sitting in on a front-end Home Depot class on a Saturday morning. It's
Correct.
Not going to give you the skill set you need to perfect that task.
That's exactly it. And a lot of people don't realize that their hourly wage is backed by so much more that the company is doing for them. They look at when your bill ends up being, when you tell them it's $5,000 and you're going to be there for a week with between you and a apprentice, and it's a 40-hour work week for the both of you. They do the calculation and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you make that much money. And then it needs to come down to,
if only, right?
Your employer is covering they're matching the taxes that are pulled out of your check. They're paying for the payroll processing. They're paying for insurance to cover you while you're at work. They pay the overhead on the building you work in. They give you vacation time. Like you start listing this stuff out to people, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, you don't have any of that? Well, no, I'm the boss. Like, I have to pay all that stuff to myself, and it doesn't magically appear. So no, $25 an hour isn't going to cut it for me to do this project. It's going to be $100.
I think when you have a cash economy, though, where people are working without a license, they're taking cash. It's harder for the legitimate guy to justify his costs when somebody's being paid under the table.
It can be,
and so obviously they're not comparisons. They're just so far apart, because somebody who's taking cash under the table is not even close to paying what the guy is who's running a business.
Yes.
And that's the one thing as NTCA is, like, we want the ethical business owner who is legitimate. That's why, if you're in a licensed state, you need to have a license. You need to have a business license. You need to, be running a business.
Well, and I think that's such a selling point, though, too, right? Like, I run an above board business. I'm not taking cash. I'm paying taxes. I participate in my community. Like, it's I don't know. For me, it's such an easy selling point to say, like, look, that's not how I do it. If that's the guy you want, we're probably not a good fit. End of story.
I had a GC a couple of years ago asked, it's like, what discount do I get for cash? I said, none. Why would I give you a discount?
Yeah.
And it's like, not 20% off. I'll get you Redis tomorrow. And it's like, why? What am I going to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
My guys don't get paid in Redis. They're on payroll.
Yep.
So the 20% that I'm working on a 20% profit and overhead, you just take it. I've worked for free this week. If you give it, well, I've still got to put it in there. But what am I going to do with it?
Yep.
How am I going to pay my guys next week if I don't put it in the bank to use as a payroll run?
Yep.
What it's of no use to me at all. How am I going to write it off at the end of the year? What am I going to do? And what happens if I get audited?
Well, and how's he running his business being able to pay you cash?
Well, we stopped doing business together.
Uh-huh.
It's like I can't do this. It's like, this is not the way I run my business.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need that, because the chances, if you get audited, the chances once the IRS get into you, they're probably going to audit me too. It's like, why would I want that inconvenience of your inconvenience?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't run my business that way, and I'm not giving you a discount. Cash is meaningless. Write me a check. And, he begrudgingly wrote me a check, but it's like, I don't take cash. Cash is a whole bunch of hassle for me. I don't want it, to be honest, because you can't put it in the bank. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure there's many listening on this podcast can tell me plenty of ways what they can do with it, but I'm not that guy. I'm sorry.
There was actually a great post in one of the groups the other day of everybody talking about what they did with their on the low cash, and it was like, buy guns, buy toys, buy car upgrades. I was just like, oh man. But you're right. In today's society, cash is cash is king, right? Like, I can go and negotiate tons of deals with cash, and it's great.
Right.
But it is, you're right in that it is a pain, because I do have to go to the bank and physically put it in. Now these days I can get Venmo or PayPal, or and I can deposit that just digitally into my bank account, or I can get a check and I can take a picture of it, and I don't even have to go to the ATM. It's cash. Right. It truly is a pain. It's bad to deal with. Like, if you want to have a safe full of money and that's how you want to operate, cool. But I'm with you in that I'm going to begrudgingly go to the bank and put it in and pay the taxes on it and have to write on the invoice that I turn into my bookkeeper, cash deposit on this date. This is what happened. Like, there's so much more work to it.
Right.
All
exactly.
Right. One last thing I want to cover, because I know you guys were able to pivot during this pandemic and change up what you're doing. So you've actually been doing online
webinars,
webinars, but also I can't think of the word, but like your
roundtables.
Yes, that's it. The roundtables, and non-members can attend these roundtables. And I guarantee, I haven't been to one, but I know that based on this conversation and based on the professionals that would be in that group, the conversations will be of this caliber. So,
right,
where do they find information on when those are happening? How does anybody get into those?
There's a text number that you can sign up for, and then I don't have it. Trying to look for it right now. You may have to source that, but there's a text number you can sign up for, and you will get a text when the next webinar is. It will start pinging you and let you know to sign up, and then it'll ping you the day of and tell you it's in an hour, and that really is the best way to get on those webinars.
Okay. I will work with you, or I will reach out to via the Facebook page. I'll get that information. I will put it in the show notes. But I'm assuming you're not going to stop doing that just because we go back to being able to do live events in the future and stuff.
I got that number. It's 31996. Okay. So if you 31996 would be the text number that would come to you if you sign up for it. Like last Tuesday, they had one part 2 on silica. They're usually 1 hour long, but they're very informative. Mm-hmm. And I think they do actually record them, so you can go back and you can look at them later also.
Amazing. So much information available for free these days. It's crazy.
Dirk Sullivan, a great guy up in Portland, Hawthorne Tile. He did one on December the 16th, which was great. You get to hear other people's, how they're dealing with COVID, scheduling wise. I mean, we've had some scheduling issues too, where we've had delays or there's been an outbreak of COVID and everyone's had to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you deal with that? And once you start talking to others, then you get to know how to deal with it more efficiently than just trying to do it yourself, not knowing what to do. So if somebody's had an experience with it, they'll share that experience with you. You'll put a plan in action, what they learn. They may not have done it, but they learned from it. And so now you're not having to go through the learning process like they had to, because they already have the answer, what they did after the fact or what they learned from that experience. And it helps you then, navigate your way through it. And that's the resource right there. It's a network of people who care and are willing to share information back to others.
Yeah, anytime you can learn from somebody else's mistakes, somebody else is able to give you their wisdom, it's anything to shorten the learning curve is going to be invaluable. And that's the thing, right? Like you can learn from the school of hard knocks, or you can learn to learn from somebody else and say, oh, well, I'm going to skip those 3 steps and just start operating on the next level.
I think that's what makes us very unique too. NTCA is very unique in the fact that we're a very friendly trade association that actually, our thing is friendliness. We're a very friendly, welcoming trade association that are very approachable.
I think that's going to go a long way. I think a lot of times people feel intimidated by them and that they're not,
and
they don't have their best interests at heart.
I give my number out to anyone who wants to talk to me. I like talking, so I'm more than willing. I mean, my number's 415-548-0483. Anybody wants to talk to me about the benefits of being an NTCA member or want, more in depth or just want to talk, feel free to call me. My phone's on, like all day. I take calls. If you leave a voicemail, I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But please reach out to me if you're looking for advice or you want to know more about NTCA.
I love it. They've got your number. What it's tile-assn.com.
Yep.
Okay. There's the website. There you can reach out through the Facebook page. That's how I set up this interview. There's people manning that aspect of it. There's the website. Is there a phone number to call, like the main office, and get anybody?
The main office number, I don't have that. I have to look that up. I think contact us, and it's
I'm getting you off guard with the easy ones. Okay, 601
939-2071.
Okay, there we go. Anything?
And you can talk to Trish over there. Tricia Moss. She'll give you information about membership. They pick up the phone. Again, very friendly, very approachable. We're a friendly association. We love that. We like that intimacy of all knowing each other and all being able to intermingle from all aspects and work with each other and share information.
No, I think that's great, right? You want to be the big company with the small company culture.
Well, I'm in this like mind of you too. It's like I don't care if one of my employees leaves and starts his own business, because I know he'll have been trained right, and that his cost will be comparable to mine. That's a win-win, right?
Exactly.
The one thing you don't want is the guy to break off from a company below who then starts approaching your general contractors or your client base. He's a cheap guy because, first of all, he's going to mess up, and they'll find out later, but he's going to take quite a substantial amount of work away from you until people catch on he can't do the job. I would rather the guy who's competent and is more at a price point to me goes out and because let's be honest, everyone has the opportunity to go out and make a living and form their own business. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't get offended. That's just the way it works. There's nothing wrong with that. But you want to try to help them and maybe work with them along the way. I mean, I trade work with people when I can't do a job. I'm not just going to tell that person to go away and find somebody out of Yellow Pages. I'm going to try to refer them to a guy who in my network, who I know does good comparable work at a comparable cost.
Yep.
And so that they get a good job done and that they're happy with me because I referred them out a guy who made them happy.
Correct. I've had
That's
people,
a win-win.
yeah, I've had people not use me, but then refer me to the next person because I wasn't in their price point, but their friend was willing to pay that price point.
Yes.
The other thing you're saying with the guy leaving, right? If everybody finds out this guy's doing horrible work, but you trained him, man, that's not speaking
not
well
good
about
either.
you. So you don't
No,
train
you
him
failed.
right. Exactly.
Right.
Train him right. So
You
everyone's
failed.
like, man, you got to go work for that company, hire that company. They know what they're doing.
Right.
Oh, all right, Martin, anything we missed? Anything we need to plug? I think otherwise we've kind of covered it.
Well, I'm just looking forward, hopefully, towards the latter part this year, probably meeting somebody at a trade show or a conference. And I just wish everyone out there a happy new year, stay safe, and make 2021 a good one.
Couldn't say it better. That's where we're going to be at. And I hope there are trade shows this year. I really do. It's been brutal not being able to really get together and go to any events. Like I am dying to go to a training in a big setting or something like that and see everybody I know. So awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the explanation, the benefits, the resources available, offering yourself up as a resource. I very much appreciate all of it.
Thanks, Kyle.
You're welcome. I'll talk with you later. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.